So, I left you on an exciting cliffhanger last time, didn't I? As you may recall, in our last episode, I was incapacitated due to a neck problem. Now, I'm not going to kid you. I've still got a neck problem. But it's nowhere near as bad as it was yesterday. So let me explain. I had said at one point I had hopeful I was going to go into work. Not possible. Was not able to go into work yesterday. And I've had neck problems and I've had back problems for years. Tall people have neck and back problems commonly. And but I've never had a neck problem like that before. If I could have theoretically driven myself to the doctor, I would have gone if I could have gotten into the doctor's office, but I couldn't. And by the time anyone was home, it was too late. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to have to endure. And then if I'm not getting better today, Saturday, then I would have to go to urgent care, because doctors don't work on weekends here unless you go to a specialty place that's designed to take your insurance money. This is really hard to describe because it wasn't the typical thing where I just can't move it. And although I can move it now, what would happen is that there would just be, you'd just be moving around, and then I would have a shot of pain that would run down the muscle here, mostly. And this would happen at the most weird times. Sometimes it would happen when I would swallow food. You just bite a food and it would just go, ah! and I would scream, frankly. It was that bad. One time I stepped up a little tiny step sideways. So I was kind of turned like this, and I, sidestepping up, and I just stepped up, and just the act of lifting my left leg and stepping up caused it to. And sometimes, I would, if I had my head up like this and I'd chew food, it would be okay. And if I had my head down like this and I'd chew food, it would be okay. But if I had my head like this, no! Even swallowing water. Sometimes the pain was just astounding. And I would lie on the floor, as I had described, with my neck on the heat pad, and that would ease it up for a while, and then I could get up and I could move around. But if I was up for more than an hour, then I could just feel it. It's just like the weight of my head. And sometimes, leaning back as you would get close to lying down, then the weight of the head would suddenly make it. Or trying to lift up, I actually would put my hand behind my head and use my arm so I wouldn't be stressing the muscles. It was bad. So last night, stepping back, as I said, it's been bad every morning for at least a week, and sleeping has not helped me. And so, but unfortunately, we have no choice. So I decided I would sleep on the sofa like this, very much propped up, heat pad that I could turn on and off periodically through the night. It was an incredibly uncomfortable night's sleep. I mean, that's just a terrible, terrible position to sleep in. I can only fall asleep there when I just reach the exhaustion point and cannot keep my eyes open anymore. So I did that, and I woke up when the dog started whining about 5 in the morning. And I felt a bit better. I didn't do anything with the dog. Chuan came in and took care of the dog, and I laid there, but I was like, I think it's a little better. But it wasn't perfect. I could still feel it a couple times. So then I fell back asleep till about 8. And Chuan and James had to go to the state archery competition. So that left Michelle and I was like, okay, my neck's better. It's better. I think I could drive. So we went and had breakfast, which was a fairly straight drive with not a lot of left and right turn looking. And I had Michelle over there double checking my right hand view. I was able to do it, but, feel a little better with an extra pair of eyes under those circumstances. And we ate, and my head began to feel tired again. The weighing on it. And I came home probably about 9 o'clock and fell asleep on the sofa again for 2.5 hours. And it's been a lot better since then. Not perfect. Of course, I've taken some medicine too. But a lot better. Not great, but I'm not getting the sudden jabs of pain. I had one bite of food at lunchtime that caused me the twinge, but the rest of it was good. So I'm gonna sleep on that sofa again tonight. By the way, I've mentioned this before previously, that sleeping on that sofa is what causes my knee to go out, or has in the past. I'll go to bed, I'll be fine, I'll wake up in the morning, my knee's out. It doesn't happen on the bed usually, but it does happen on the sofa. And it happened last night, but it was a very minor, just sort of a warning shot. So I will wear the brace tonight so that it doesn't take my knee out, fix my neck, take my knee out. Great. Getting old sucks, folks. Beats the alternative, but getting old sucks. It's Sunday morning, and I am not remotely amused. Yesterday, while Chuan and James were at the archery competition, Michelle and I went out for lunch. And we drove up to Metro Center, where we ate. It doesn't matter what we ate, but it does matter that we were driving along the freeway. And now, for the third time since I've had the Prius, I'm driving down the road, and there's a sudden noise on the windshield. Now, the first two times that happened, I looked, and I could not find any dings or chips or cracks. And they happened in rapid succession. And then, a couple weeks later, those cracks happened, just out of the blue. And both of which you could see had started with little pits of something had hit the windshield. So naturally, I'm a little bit paranoid about this now. So when it happened yesterday, I freaked out. Searched all over and could not find any hits. But this morning, not only is there a little pit on the windshield, but there is a crack forming. Now this is insane. No car window should be that fragile. So there's a couple things in play here. The first is, why is it so fragile, and how am I going to get Toyota to do something about this? Because they can't have produced a car that's window is so shitty that it not only seems to collect being hit by rocks, which doesn't make any sense because it should have like swooshy airflow, but then once it starts to move, it moves fast. So I've got to contact someplace that does windshields today and get out there and get it fixed. And if that means me missing my son's birthday party, I'm going to be even more pissed. But it's already grown to 1/2 inch overnight. I can't afford to wait at all. I suppose I was expecting magic with the windshield repair. But with the little pit and then the crack that was beginning to expand out, I got it repaired. Like I said, I had just got the insurance after I had to replace this ridiculously expensive windshield. And so my insurance company covered it 100%, and I'm out the door. And they did the work, and it didn't take too terribly long. But it's not invisible. I can see the repair, and I can see the crack is still there. So if you can imagine that there was a pit in the middle and a crack expanding outwards from it, they have repaired the pit in the middle. They drill into it, and then they I guess suck air out of it, and then in exchange inject this resin glass material into it. And it goes as deep into it as it can, and it did not go all the way up the crack. So there's actually a fixed spot in the middle, which has got a little bump on it right now that they say will wear off in a little while. And then a gap where it's been repaired, and then you can see the cracks on either end. Now, my personal opinion looking at that is like, that's not gonna last, that's gonna break. But at this stage, it's fully and completely warranted by the glass repair place. So if it goes bad, it's their problem. So that's the situation. I'm not crazy about it, that I can still see it. But if that takes care of the problem and it doesn't grow, I'm not going to be too anal retentive about it. I hope. That sort of thing does bug me. Now it's just like this big glaring crack there on the windshield, and it's gonna bug me. It's gonna bug me, but I'm gonna have to deal with it. So I'm at the party now. See what fun I'm having? They're all playing laser tag, and I'm sitting here guarding the purses and bags. This is really ticking me off.
There you go, Ollie. That was good walking. Very good. You didn't hold my arm much, but that was good. Okay, ready? Walk. Nice job, Ollie.
We don't do it very often because, we had to get past the shots, but now we're occasionally taking him out for a walk. And he's not practiced at it, so we're having to teach him. He's going to start obedience classes next week. That'll be interesting. While the rest of the United States He's being buried under snow and ice and horrible weather. Today it was well over 90. I'm not sure what the temperature is now, but it's very nice at, 9-ish at night. I think it's 9-ish at night. It might be after 9. But
Said I. Good boy.
we're having great weather.
What?
Well, it's Wednesday afternoon and I'm heading home from work. If you've been paying attention to this vlog for any length of time, you would know that typically I work at home on Wednesdays. I telecommute. But they've started, well, they haven't started, they've been having them for a long time, but they've opted to include me in a meeting that occurs once a month on a Wednesday. It's 3 hours long. So I was very happy not to have to attend, but at least they had a break in the middle today, and I brought my pad in so that my sciatica wouldn't, man, traffic's awful, cause me any problems. And now pedestrians want to cross. Well, tough pedestrians, you can wait. Anyhow, so the day is over, and I'm ready to go home. But better yet, I'm on spring break. So the kids were on spring break. Juan was on spring break all week. So I thought, heck, I can take a day or two off, and we can go somewhere. So I don't know if we'll do it tomorrow or we'll do it Friday or what, but we're going to go probably up to Sedona, Red Rock Country. I'll get some footage up there. And hopefully that'll be more interesting than me driving along and telling you about the sound of water. Oh, what's that you say? I haven't told you about the sound of water? Well, then let me tell you. It's a funny little phenomena. I was watching a science video on YouTube the other day, and the premise was that you know how to tell the difference between hot and cold water by its sound. And, on the surface of it, maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense, but they demonstrated by taking two identical pitchers, filling one with hot water and one with ice water, and then pouring it into another vessel. And of course they blurred out the video so you couldn't see steam and stuff. And just as plain as day, you can definitely tell the difference between the sound of hot and cold water. And the reasoning is that the viscosity of water changes with temperature, as it does with many liquids. And you have been listening to these things being poured your entire life. You just didn't really notice it. Which is true, I hadn't really noticed it. But now that I have noticed it, I also notice in my house, it's a very long run from the water heater to either the sink in our master suite bathroom or the sink in our kitchen. And it can take upwards towards 3 minutes to get hot water. Except in the summer, in which case it can take upwards to 7 minutes to get cold water. But it takes a long time. And you can tell when the water gets hot. And I've always been able to tell when the water gets hot because it does sound differently when it starts pouring hot. I just always assumed, incorrectly, that it was because, I don't know, the pipes were constricting, there was less water flow, something that had to do with the physical change of expansion or contraction was changing the volume of water that was pouring into the sink. And no, it's the sound of the viscosity of the water coming out and splashing in the basin. So there you go. This is now a science video and not just me rambling about stuff. Anyway, let's end it here before I go on spring break. And do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will talk to you next time.